Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to use the string data type, how to read and write the string data type. Notice where we left off last time. We had done the Hello World program. Now I'm going to open the same project. So since we are working in the same chapter, you don't have to create a new project every time. So I'm going to open the same project, but I'm going to have a different file to show you how to read and write strings. So I'm going to open project, and we're going to go. Notice we call it hello class. That's where I have my hello world in there for module 1. So I'm going to go in there into that folder, and notice we have a file called helloclass.sln, which is a solution file which has all the information about the project and the files that are in there. So I'm going to open that solution file. And notice we have the hello world.cpp in that project right now. So I don't really need that. I'm going to exclude that. So if you right click on it, we can exclude from project. And I'm going to include another file that I just downloaded from our D2L system. And that's called hello name. So if we go to existing item, I downloaded it and I saved it to the same folder as our projects folder, so it's there. So before you go to add the file, you might want to download it and save it to that projects folder. So I'm going to add that, and I'm going to double click on it, and notice it opens. And so now we're going to take a look at this code that I've already written. And so I have all my comments, as you noticed. I have my name, and I have the date that that I changed it on. And if you go down and look, notice the first change that you see is, apart from our IOStream header file, we also have a string header file. We need the string header file anytime we are going to use strings. So include string, and then once we come into our main program, notice everything else is the same as what we did before. We need using namespace, and we go into int main, and we have a couple of different variables at this point in time. We have a char variable called reply. We'll see where we are going to use that. We also have two string variables, lname for last name and first name. And again, notice our cout statements pretty much output what we want to. So the first one says cout hello world. Then it says cout please enter your last name. Now, how do we read input, especially strings? So notice we have cin, extraction operator, lname. So cin says console in. It waits at the console for the user to enter something. And lname says read whatever they enter into lname and store it in lname. And likewise, fname will store whatever they enter. It says please enter your first name. So they enter a first name because cin waits at the console. That goes into fname. Now, in order to output that, we say welcome goes in double quotes because that's what we wanted to output as is. And fname is the name of the variable. Notice there are no double quotes around it. And then this says I simply want a space. So if you notice, there's a single space inside of the double quote. And then lname again is a variable. So notice it has no double quotes. And to CS161. So if you put it all together, it should say welcome. If I put in my name, Gayatri, space, and then my last name, whatever I put in should come in here, Iyer, space to CS161. And the end line, end L, says output a new line, so the cursor goes to the next line. Now, also notice we need extraction operators between each one of these. Each one of these is called a token. So cout is a token. This string is a token. Fname, which is a variable, is a token. So each one needs an extraction operator. And the last section says it stops the program from flashing off the screen. Now, there are some compilers that will not wait like Visual Studio does and says press any key to continue. So to prevent it from flashing off so you actually can see the output, you tell it to read a char variable so it waits. So what this says is cout says press any key, press Q or any other key followed by enter to quit. And the cin reply forces the console to wait for the user to enter any character, for example Q, and that will get read into reply. We really don't do anything with it because we end our program after that, but this statement essentially makes the console wait for us. So try it with this, try it without that. Notice what happens. So let's first go ahead and build this and run it as is, and then we'll make some changes. So we build it and we compile it and we run it. It says please enter your last name. So there's my last name. And then it says enter your first name. There's my first name. So notice it says exactly what we told it to say. Welcome, space, because we put a space here, first name, space, last name, to CS161. And then the cursor goes to the next line. It says press Q or any other key followed by enter to continue. And the cursor waits here because of the CIN statement. So if I enter Q, it says press any key to continue. Now this is what the system provides automatically in Visual Studio. Now if you're doing it on a Mac or any other compiler, you will need to sometimes use these two statements in order for this console to actually wait and not flash off the screen. Now since it's Visual Studio, we can conveniently comment these two lines, not use them. By commenting them, we are simply saying I'm not using them, and run it, and it will behave exactly the same way except for one small change. So now it doesn't say press Q or any other key, but it still says press any key to continue, and it waits, and if I hit enter, then it closes the window. So experiment with some of these things, but the main thing that I want to show you in this file is a string variable, how to read into string, and how to write out a string. And in the next few modules, we'll see more about strings and we'll talk more about them, but do try to experiment with some of these things and don't be afraid to try new things.